A mega merger with a potential shakeup for an industry. CVS has agreed to acquire health insurance giant Aetna for $69 billion. This deal would combine CVS's healthcare group, which operates more than 9,000 pharmacies, with an insurance company that covers more than 22 million people. Aetna shareholders are set to receive $207 a share. That would be in cash and stock. Joining us right now, Federated Investors Chief Equity Strategist Phil Orlando, talking about that in markets this morning. Phil, good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, we've talked about this deal before, that it's really an impact of Amazon, which people don't realize.
Well, Amazon's tentacles are just so wide, and we don't know how the ACA might be restructured at some point in the future. So this is a deal that potentially has an impact from both of those phenomena. So companies want to know to compete or how to compete, and this is their attempt to do that.
Nice to see a little pickup in M&A toward the end of the year, John, because it hasn't been so great this year.
Right. We're seeing it across many industries. I think in this particular case, it's a fascinating development that really could shake up the entire healthcare industry. The idea here is that with Aetna getting together and CVS, with CVS, that we're bringing our medicine, our medical care into the pharmacy, that they're talking about expanding nurse practitioners, and when you have a fever, when your kid has a fever, you go to the pharmacy to get help instead of your doctor.
Yeah, that's good.
We always like that. In some ways, it's like you want to be able to have a one-stop shop in everything we do. I mean, think about it. It's almost like a Walmart effect. If you walk into Walmart, you can go home with, dinner that night and some clothes for the weekend or whatever it may be. So if you go now to CVS, and just little things, I mean, they could have a nurse practitioner that could be there eventually, or, whatever it may be. They're supposed to have wellness centers there. Yeah. So that idea of integrating everything and putting things in one place seems to make sense. Maybe it faces regulatory scrutiny, I'm not sure, but from that side of it, it seems to make sense.
Well, Cotto mentions Walmart. It's not just the Amazon effect, it's the Walmart effect of the Walmart pharmacies and the in-store health clinics, that CVS and Aetna together are looking at that as a major, already an existing competitor for this combination. And in terms of driving down the healthcare cost, I guess that, the cost reduction or the discounts that you might get on drugs is potentially like the sky's the limit in terms of what they could do in driving pharmaceutical costs down.
Well, so Phil, one of my questions for you is, what is this going to do to M&A within the industry? Are we going to see more consolidation in other parts of the healthcare and pharmacy industry? Is this going to drive stocks higher across the sector?
I think the answer is yes. In the healthcare industry, I think M&A overall is going higher as well, and that was one of the things that we thought would be sort of an offshoot of tax reform getting done. One of the key elements was repatriation, which would allow companies to bring, close to $3 trillion back to the United States. More R&D and more M&A were some of the things that we expected to see out of that. Certainly healthcare is going to be one of the key areas that's going to drive that phenomenon.
Well, so R&D is one of the big questions this morning, because one of the unintended consequences in the Senate bill, where they reinstalled the corporate alternative minimum tax, it could actually undermine a research and development tax credit.
It's your it's your top story in the Journal today, about how businesses started revolting at the fact that they're turning this R&D
in the conference committee, because that's not in the House bill.
Right.
And I think, when Republicans see the way the business community is reacting to this, I think they're going to turn around on that particular measure.
To that point about business community react, in that story, the one thing that kind of stood out to me, there was a quote, the Murray Energy CEO, who's the largest coal mining company, funny enough, in the United States.
Bob Murray on this program also.
Yeah.
Right. His quote was, what the Senate did, in this befuddled mess, as he called it, this is in the Journal story this morning, is drove me out of business, and then bragged about the fact that they got some tax reform passed. He says $60 million increase in his tax bill. I think it largely is due to what you're talking about, this credit going away, if it goes away.